He never. I mean, she didn't do all that.
He does or no?
Yeah. Yeah. I could have brought. We could have brought some.
Your credit card is this fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can be good at my
You know, for a milkshake. You know. That's it.
You drink tequila in your milkshakes? That's why you're always so late.
Huh.
Funny. I have my first transaction coming up with solar. Interesting. Have you done that before?
Came close, but I never got them. Now, are they leased? I had the three that I ran into were all they were either owned or they were paid off at settlement. Yeah, and that's one question I always ask when I find one. You know, will they be paid in settlement? Yeah.
I have like my own. And I looked at all the it's just hard with you. They're just so different. And then I finally did them. You know, I'm setting them up for like the for buyers. These are probably going to be marketable. So it's a good price range.
Yeah.
Suburbia. Exactly. Thinking capital for
You know,
to be a real
I have a realtor and situated at a perfect angle. My brother put them on his house. They had some issues when they first started with getting the payback, but now and every so often they have a little glitch. But I just yeah. I mean, yeah. I showed one house that they had huge ones in their yard. And I don't know why they were trying to sell. They sold they had them installed like a year. They were only in a year and they're trying to sell the house now. Like, whoa, good luck with that. I mean, wow. Oh my gosh.
They need, I mean, their orchards get Gettysburg for work and so there's two.
Okay.
Everything's like. Yeah, literally this place.
Oh,
But I know there's transactions all the time with them, so it is.
yeah.
I guess I'm
Yeah.
learning, huh?
I mean, I have some friends that work in the solar industry and just, I just, yeah, be interesting to see. Cause I hear people talk, cause they're all, yeah, yeah.
Babe. You know, so I'm like, well, he's,
Yeah, yeah.
but, and everything's different. So like these people say they have like a bank, like, so they have to pay into this like piggy bank. But then the production, so they say that we paid about like $700 last year. Like for a full house, like a question on that. But I told them to try to like itemize, like so somebody can look at it and know what it means, you know. So, way down to church. My husband's gonna pick me up tonight. So I'll be here all day.
I don't know how to turn music off, so it's from your home class. It's always cold. We can just go outside. Yeah. Oh, no,
It's a little windy.
it's a little windy.
It's been a thing lately.
Beautiful day.
What's this class on, Joe? I just
Great.
thought I could come to a class. You're about to start anyway.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it's gonna be. Hello.
Wow. I did it.
You got it? This is great for us.
Whole bunch.
5 minutes later, here you go, before you even go. Appreciate it. Awesome.
Little things like this just completely, it's just, wow.
All right. Can somebody online just at least say, I can hear you? Anybody there? Michael and Emily look like real live human beings. Can you hear me? All right. Oh, Michael does hear you. Cool. All right, good. Well, we're good.
Okay, good.
Let's see who else joins us for chips and salsa and guac. So Abby just asked a really great question, which is, what is this class going to be about? And I I primarily work in the real estate investing space. I work with a lot of CEOs, COOs over in that space. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm seeing the market different this year than last year and really different than maybe 4 years ago. Who's new to the business in the last 5 years?
Like last month.
Last month. And then these two vets. Okay. How about new within the last year? Okay, most. All right. So the good news is if you don't know, then you don't know. So don't stress it if you're just like, well, I don't know. It is what it is. Ryan and I started in the business in 2008. Anybody remember 2008?
Yeah.
Mhm.
What describe it in like one or two words?
Crash. Market
Crash,
crash?
like disaster, dumpster fire, right?
Just four.
You bought a house just before me too. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Yep. Happy to come to Maya. The chips and salt and guac are on the way. I also bought a house in then. In fact,
June 22, and then it
yep, I bought in April 2008. Immediately lost like 20% of my home value. And so like sometimes I think we think of crashes in terms of that like really dramatic, like falling off the cliff. But what are other ways that a market shifts? And we're going to talk about that in a second. But like, what are the ways that a market shifts?
higher demand, low supply.
Yep. So it can go that way, higher demand, lower supply. We definitely saw that after COVID, right? And what did that cause?
Prices.
Hmm?
Prices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The function of like supply and demand is that if demand increases and supply doesn't keep up, prices go up. Okay. Well, what other ways can a shift happen? That's a good shift. What's maybe a less good shift or a different type of shift?
You're talking about like details like an interest rate and how that impacts now.
Okay. So that's a mechanism that creates shift.
Okay.
How does that create a shift?
Slows down.
Who can buy, like
Yeah.
people's buying power impacts.
An affordability shift, right?
With appreciation of houses, of course.
Cool.
Interest rates.
Yep. So a buyer who had good buying power 3 years ago, 4 years ago, if they want to go house shopping today, what's different for them?
They can't afford as much house.
Yeah.
It's actually in our situation right now. We bought our house in 21 and what we were able to get isn't even close to what we can get now.
So what's the first conversation like with that person?
It's difficult.
Yeah, setting real expectations.
Yeah, right. We need to be doing that. Oh man, shows up with. Go get with that. Yeah, absolutely. Right. So we need to set those expectations. We need to know where the customer is. And remember, you're receiving your customers where they think the market is or where they think it has been, not always where reality is. And as the market changes, that's really impactful for both buyers and sellers. It's disappointing to a buyer when they show up and think that they can afford this house and they can afford this house. Now, how does that look in the mirror for a seller if they think their house is worth this and now the market says it's worth this?
Deflating.
Right? So it's not always he who tells the most truth, it's he who gets the seller or buyer to understand the reality. Telling them the truth and getting them to work with you are not always the same conversation.
You have to have more resources to be able to help those people.
Yeah, that's true. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about how to be resourceful, how to be effective as the market's changing. So again, so to answer your question of like, what's this class about? I'm going back to a book that is probably, in my eyes, the most impactful and simple real estate book that's out there. The Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, which is the red book, right? Keller Williams, Gary Keller wrote that book. It's super valuable, effective book, but it's boring and I don't like it. I mean, I like it, it's important, but I don't love it. I love this book. I think this book is a book that a real estate agent can open and do something with today. There are pages in this book, and we're going to talk about them, like page 79. It literally lists prospecting and marketing activities in bullet points. If you showed up to the office today and don't know what your job description is, you could just be like, well, what's on page 79? Oh, I need to assemble a call list. I need to rehearse my scripts. I need to prepare handouts for visits, and I need to prepare for my open houses. Who has an open house booked this weekend? Okay. Are you prepared with your handouts?
Not yet, actually.
What day are you going to go door knock?
Probably the day before, usually.
Like-
Like the morning out.
Cool. I hate the word probably, but I like the idea, right? It's like, so like, what are you committed to do? And like showing up to the open house and allowing strangers to walk through it for 2 hours and then packing up at the end and going home is not really the point of the open house, right? Holding the house open and not taking business from it is tragic. Holding the house open and leveraging it for your business is what you're there for. In fact, I would argue that you doing a great job of that is actually doing better service for the seller, because creating hype. I want parking issues at my open house. I want people like jockeying for like being able to get in the front door, because that creates that FOMO, that exclusivity, that hype, that excitement. Which, if one of those people, which statistically speaking, it's like less than 8% of people write an offer as a result of an open house. So like, don't hold your breath, but also they have one thing in common. All of the people that show up at an open house, other than the nosy neighbors, have one thing in common. What is that? They are taking action. And if you have two choices on who you want to talk to do business with, would you rather talk to people who like own a house but have shown no activity, no interest, and you're like cold calling or door knocking or sending a postcard to them that says, I just listed your neighbor's house, and they do nothing with it? Would you rather talk to that person, or would you rather talk to the person who put their kids in the car, drove to an open house, and are walking through the front door? I don't know. Right? Cool. So what we're going to talk about, again, this book, very practical, and you're like, what is it all about? Is I think the market's always shifting. It's either shifting in economic ways, it's shifting in socio ways, meaning like buyer confidence right now is really rattled. Anybody want to argue that?
I'd say sellers are too, a little bit,
Cool. Why?
because their house isn't going under contract in 2 days.
Right. So amazingly enough, there's a picture for that in here too.
Mhm.
And it's this, the timing of the market. No one can perfectly time the market, but anyone can play it safe. Putting yourself in a position to price the home in a way that's positioned against the current market, not the market that we're leaving, allows you to set them up to win. By the way, I can't even tell you, like, that's been a hot minute since I took a listing, but I've drawn this exact picture on the back of a tax record probably 20 times in listing appointments. Because when I get this seller well, I'll actually do it for you. I'll show you exactly how I do that in the listing presentation. Because when you get a seller who's not coming to reality with the current market, and you have that socio shift that you need them to go through, meaning like an expectations versus reality conversation, I'd rather show them exactly how their own decisions and behavior are about to haunt them with not selling their home when they think they're going to sell it. So how about affordability? We talked about interest rates. What about gas? What does that do for consumer confidence? What is the fact that we're maybe currently bombing Iran again? What does that do for consumer confidence? For sure. You know where that shows up? Not always in the behavior that we think it does. Two particular places. Number one is starting, because that requires an immediate connection between emotions and actions, right? So starting the process is where they like falter there. There's another place mathematically impacts a lot of real estate businesses right now. Anybody know?
Interest?
No. Yeah, like activity, interest, some of that is for sure true. Fallout rate goes up. When people are less confident, they're willing to walk away. What was the fallout rate post-COVID? Like 0.0%. If you were lucky enough to get a house under contract, you were definitely not willing to walk away, right? Like they were literally writing non-contingent deals. Sight unseen, non-contingent, escalation. Now it's like, oh, well, the home inspection came back and they said that there's chipping paint on the baseboard and I think this house is falling apart. Anybody?
Mhm.
Okay. So is that like what changed between 3 years ago when people were writing sight unseen offer? Sight unseen means they didn't even get the chance to see the chipping baseboard and they were like, we're 100% committed. We're writing a non-conditional deposit. Here, take it. We are so committed. We'd rather you take our money. We don't want to be homeless. Right? Now that
Factors,
what's that?
economic factors, nobody was really allowed to be around the public.
Yeah.
COVID, I was young.
COVID. I'm talking post-COVID, immediately post-COVID. There's that year, give or take, post-COVID, where 21, 22 is bananas. There are agents that came into the industry in 21, 22 who didn't know how to do home inspection contingency negotiations because they had never had to do one before. I'm not pointing at anybody in the room, I'm just saying it happened. I know it happened.
The beauty of it now, you just have to be ready.
Yeah. So that's what this class is about. This class is about being ready. So we're going to talk about 4 places that you can create control in your business, regardless of what the market's doing. The market's going to do this. It's an up and down, by the way, for anybody who can see that. 72 for anybody. There's a couple of examples of that. But market's going to do that whether we agree or not, right? I don't know if you think you have a say, you don't. None of us do, right? So we have to figure out where are the 4 key places we can create control. So, all right, cool. Who has the book? Oh, you turned to page 172. Yeah, I see it. I used to know like a lot of pages by memory. Now it's like I'm getting rustier and rustier. This was we had to when I was becoming a maths coach, we had to read Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, this book, and The One Thing, and we had to essentially know we had to be able to turn to a page for an applicable topic in a moment's notice. So if I was talking to a client and I like needed to know where the 7 circles were from like The One Thing, I didn't know exactly like what page to turn to that. Anyway, I'm as often so. But I still use this stuff from Shift all the time. Cool. Let's talk about the 4 places where we can create control. We're going to start at number 1. Number 1 is you. So the 4th place where you can create control in any market is mindset. So interestingly enough, this book, Shift, it's called How Top Real Estate Agents Tackle Tough Times. And I think that one of the first things that we have to talk about is like we often don't accept when it's actually a tough time. It takes us, there's a lag between reality and understanding. And I'm going to draw a couple of variations of this, but I'm going to start with the picture that I drew in listing presentations. Here's how that drawing goes. Okay. That's the market. It's just like doing its thing. It's never like that pretty, but it's pretty much done that for as long as real estate's been around. So let's just say that that's the reality of the market. So this is real world. All right, what are examples of what the up and down could mean? Any guesses?
In the real world?
Yeah, in
Or
the
the
real world. Price, so it could be money. What else?
I don't want to derail you, Joe, but I can't get rid of the question. So that is the number one thing, supply and demand for those shifts. If somebody just said local market, I understand it does that. Is that the number one influence, supply and demand?
So supply and demand is gonna be a huge part of it, but there's like other things, like, so in the 2008 crash, there's external factors that came in, right, in terms of like the mortgage falling out, which then led to tremendous financial pressure externally. If anybody didn't know, like, this county was one of the top 5 counties for foreclosures in the country. We were like dispoing over 100 properties per month by sheriff sale.
I tell people now parameters are so much.
Correct.
better.
So like,
That's why this won't happen.
so now you get 620 credit score minimums and all the other things that have come into play. Like, that didn't exist in 2007. Like, a 540 credit score to get an FHA loan in 2007.
Well, wasn't that long ago,
It wasn't that long.
and they just didn't do
They were just.
it.
So to your question, right? Supply and demand. Yeah, that's going to be a part of that, right? So actually, I was going to say money and demand are really like the two things that you're seeing there. In the book, and this is really where it's interesting, because what he talks about is like the law of equilibrium of market. And it's one of the first drawings that he put. So the other thing to think about there is it's simply the quantity of transactions. And it's not just the quantity of transactions, which is sort of fundamentally, but it's also the amount of available money in the market, right? So sort of to your point of supply and demand, that's actually literally page 7, the beginning. So shifts happen. And here's an interesting thing. And like, by the way, like, we have the benefit of multiple things. We have inside of a year. So let's just say like this is probably a 4-year span, give or take. But like, so then this would be 1 year. And as the market's like tanking in this year, we also have like, you know, it's like, oh, well, January, February, March. And then we like, so we'll have like we'll have this going on. Because we also have seasonality shifting as well. Right? So nationwide, a vast majority of the transactions, not vast, a significant majority of the transactions happen in Q2, Q3. And then Q4, Q1 are minimums every year. Worth knowing, right? So again, so that's happening inside of that. So all right, now I've gotten derailed a little bit with that question, but no. You want that in advance. All right, so this is the real world, and this is going to be like money and demand, right? Money and demand happening. Here. Okay, so I told you, and actually he's probably seen me draw this a number of times. In a listing, why do I draw this? Because I want to make sure that I'm on the same page with the customer on where we are. So if I'm going to say to the customer, what is current days on market? Anybody know? 11. Interesting. What was it, say, 1 year ago today?
A month ago was 8.
A month ago was 8. What was it a year ago? Any
Maybe
guesses?
3, 4.
It was sub 4. It was like 2 to 3 coming out of last winter into Q2 of 25. It was like 2 to 3. Well, if I told you it was 3 times as long or 4 times as long to get your home sold today as last year, that sounds really dramatic. It's really only 8 days difference, but it's a significant difference. Like a multiple of 4 in any industry is really noteworthy, right? Cool. So I would say, objectively speaking, we're probably in this land right here. Everybody can see that? Because it's not getting better. We're getting longer market time, which is an indication of what? Money or demand?
Money.
More demand.
Less
Less
demand.
demand.
Market time goes up, demand goes down. Also, you said money as well. Who said money as well? Why?
Because
We literally started with this, supply and demand.
it's a lot of supply and little demand.
Supply goes up, demand goes down, market times get longer, and how does that translate to money?
You
lower
said buyers get
prices.
shakier.
Buyers get shakier. So how do we see that on the REAC data? What would be an indication of that? What do you need to, you guys need to be professionals and understand the market data really well if you want to serve your clients. So you guys get that monthly statistic that comes out, right? Okay, cool. Does anybody notice what the percentage of list to sold is right now?
What do you mean percentage of list price being?
Yep. So go ahead and pull it up. It's just the last one that just came out.
Really interesting.
It was still close to 100.
And it's still close to
Yeah.
100. Well, that's so interesting. Because if that's still fairly close to 100, but market time's going up, what message does that tend to send us?
Relax.
A little bit, right? It's like, hey, I want you to know it's going to take you more time, but we're probably going to still be fairly close. Now, here's what I would check. And by the way, one thing that you can do is when you're pulling your comps, I want you to check that on a per property, per price range basis. Here's why. That data that we're looking at from REAC is across the entire market. With our market in particular here, we have a very blue collar-ish market. And so that weights itself differently across different price points. If you're pulling that data for a 150 to 250 price point, it's still the killing fields there. You're gonna it's gonna be 100% of list price, probably gonna be pretty good, especially if the properties are nice. Now, what happens here, and sneaky thing that happens in the real world, when we were here, it didn't matter as much about the property. But now, as you're pulling your comps, I want you to start to look at what are the pictures like? What's the interior condition like? Is it as nice as the other properties? Because now, as this gets a little shakier, that will start to matter. Now, why do I draw this in a listing presentation? Because if we are objectively somewhere not at the peak, we know that for sure, but we're probably not here, and we'll never know until we're already past it. We'll never know if we're at the peak or the bottom until we're already past it. So all that matters is we know that we're somewhere here. That's it. That's all we can say. And we just look at that through history, because there will be some point where you'll hit this bottom 30 to 60, maybe 90 days ago, and then you'll see market time drops. List prices versus sold prices are good, right? And then we see appreciation, and then we're going back up this direction, right? We're not there. We know that. Check. Okay, cool. So I'm drawing this for a listing presentation because I'm going to show them, hey, listen, just based on some data, I want you to know we are somewhere on this curve. Now, here's the challenge. This curve is where people think we are. Because I just told you, we won't know where we are until it's already happened. And so right now, buyers and sellers are not on the same timeline. They're not on the same place on the graph. So if this is time, if this is us moving forward in time, what happens is the market is here and the customers are here. So we need to learn pricing strategies and have our mindset clear that we can, remember, I'm talking about what do we control? We control number one, our mindset. The first thing, and literally the title of the first chapter is Get Real, Get Right. So when I ask you what the data is, and I get some answers you pretty much knew, but I get some hazy eyes, it's you gotta get real about the data. You should be looking all the time. I pretty much say this every time I teach, but you are professionals. You have a fiduciary responsibility to the people that you are advising. And if you don't know the actual data, then how can you give them recommendations based on anything? You're guessing at that point.
And that's what I'm seeing with listings. It's it's been 3 days. Should we be worried? I'm no, average days on market is 11.
Perfect.
It's just that easy.
It is that easy.
Yeah.
But if you are a poorly educated guessing agent, you're gonna be I don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
It makes you wonder. I gaslight myself sometimes.
100%. And the thing to remember, and this is why this is such a valuable thing to talk to about sellers. You don't have to get all complicated with the graph, but you can just show them, hey, listen, I just want you to know we're somewhere in this. I can't even, none of us will be able to predict it. If you go on CNBC, there's probably some talking head that's going to tell you where they think it is. But we're somewhere here. We just don't want to be caught behind the market, because what we'll find, what happens when we're behind the market and the buyers confidence and expectations and willing to spend money is dropping ahead of us. What happens to sellers in that situation?
Pacing.
You're chasing the market. So what do those conversations look like in a listing?
What do you mean about, it's like,
He's at 11 days, like, oh, we're at 3 days on the market. Should we drop it? We don't have any, we're not sold yet. No, 11 days is the number, no stress. But now what happens at 24 days? Price drop. So now you end up having to make incremental moves, guessing how close you can get to the reality of the market. So if you ever get those sellers, and I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but like, we want to take a shot and see what we can get. Right? It's like, cool. Yeah, I literally had this market. Well, that's cool. Show them this. Hey, listen, I appreciate that, but here's the play. And I'm gonna give you a practical thing to take to those people. One, show them this. Just like literally draw up, like flip the paper over and be like, hey, this is where I am. I want to advise you professionally because I don't want to be having a really awkward conversation at day 22.
how did you handle that?
It was only a matter of $5,000. So I always say
Yeah.
if we're playing ball in the same like arena, like
Yeah.
that's where I'm at peace. But yeah, I don't
That's-
know 100% how I'd handle. I always say the data's here and your priorities are here and we have to meet in the same. If the data, if the CMA says one thing, okay. But if they're not falling in this range, I don't usually like it. No.
Come back to what is your property possible? Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, taking the wrong approach probably won't help us achieve this, right? They may have other goals in terms of how much they're going to make. Like the market will never lie.
Yeah, the other big one is being knowledgeable about Zillow comparables, understanding how to pull up Zillow and show them the comparables being used and how they are not the price they're coming up with.
Yeah.
That helps a lot of those.
Then you're
Because they see this estimate and you're showing them this house is not an apple. It's not your, and then that helps them a lot to understand.
So here's a practical recommendation. If you find yourself in a situation with a seller who's like that, is when you take the listing, have a pre-agreed upon timeline that exceeds the average days on the market and a pre-agreed upon listing price drop. Hey, here's the deal. If we find ourselves behind the market, average days on market's 11, if we're at day 15 and we do not have a written offer, now that will be what I would say is like, it's not about showings. You need something quantitative that you can say, put a line in the sand. If we don't have an offer written by day 15 and we know that the average days is 11, Mr. Seller, what does that tell us? What does that tell both of us? Well, it tells us that, I don't know, people are, right? They're gonna come up with all the reasons why it's not their property's fault for being improperly priced, but it ultimately comes down to a pricing competition. We're not competitively priced, right? Because if we know that more than 50% of the other homes in your competitive area are selling in less days, your house is getting less attractive by the day.
Or they want more favors from you.
Right. So exactly. Well, those seller conversations only get worse. Then they're like, well, my realtor's not doing anything. It's like, okay, cool. You're the wrong price. Right. So the best thing the realtor can do is tell them. What I would recommend is that you predetermine what the price drop is. And this is this is the exact language used. What price should we change it to if the market tells us that we're currently overpriced? It's not an option. It's not no guessing at day 15, no awkward phone call. Like if the market tells us that we're at the wrong price, what price do you think we should go to? It's very direct and it forces them to give you an answer. And if the answer they give you is anything better than what they've currently listed it for or are asking you to take, it's a win. And it's a pre-agreed upon win. And sometimes time creates more pressure that actually helps you. Because if you hit day 15 and then it's not only no offers, but also no showings, you're like, what do you think the market's telling us now? Right? It's not you. You didn't decide that nobody wanted to come see the house. The market's telling them. And that's why this drawing is so helpful, is because it shows them that the market's if the market's doing what it's doing and they're just along for the ride, their hopes and dreams are secondary to that. Cool. So the first thing you can do is control your mindset. And that is, like I said, get real, get right. So understanding that the real estate market is cyclical, understanding that you need to get real about the data that's out there and then make judgments or decisions. Listen, if anybody watches my social media, you already know I hate AI, but like you could take the market data and ask ChatGPT to give you a witty post about like what's the market behaving like around here and become a market expert, like getting real about that, whether you post that to the public or whether you just read it, like take the data from RAAC, drop it into ChatGPT and say, hey, how should I be looking at the market? How should I be talking to my sellers based on what the market's doing in my local area? I'm willing to give you guys that as an AI prompt. That's actually valuable, right? Actually, really cool pro tip for AI is don't just let it have one voice. Tell it what voices to speak with. Give me one person who's a real estate person who's like a national level real estate speaker that you like.
Aaron Espedo.
There it is. Okay. Very professional. Anyway, like give me somebody like
James?
Who?
Jared James?
Jared James. Okay, cool. So Jared James. What's the dude that's always yelling at the screen?
That's the thing, I don't know their names.
I know the guy on CNBC that's always yelling. Kramer.
Oh, the Motley Fool.
Yeah, that guy, right? You have like that guy. You can do like Ryan Serhant, right? Anybody who's out there, and you can actually say, "Hey, ChatGPT, don't just give me one summary of the market. Give me 3 summaries from the lenses of this person, this person, and this person." I learned about that technique as an AI board of directors is a really cool way to look at different things because those people all have proven bodies of work that AI will go to and it will say, this is how that person looks at the market or looks at the world, and it will give you their perspective. I do that sometimes, like if I'm in a difficult situation or I'm going to have a challenging conversation, I don't necessarily use the AI to like do my work for me, but I'll be like, hey, how would John Maxwell look at this set of circumstances and what would his perspective be? And then I'll also do that against other people. Like I did one actually this weekend. It was Elon Musk, Alex Hormozy, and John Maxwell. 3 very different personalities. If you know any of those 3, right? John Maxwell's like a very like people first leadership guy. Alex Hormozy built acquisitions.com. He's a big podcaster and digital product guy. And then Elon Musk, obviously, right? So very different perspectives. So if you want to do that and like have the market, that market research, do it with those different voices. So that would be that. So the reality is like the faster we can get real and take mental mindset ownership over what the market's doing, the better we can respond. If we're just sort of like going with the flow, we're not in control. So number 2 is activity. So we can control mindset, we can control activity. Pretty much the whole way through this book, one of the things that Gary Keller says is you are lazy as all get out. Says it really nicely, lots of different ways he says it. But like essentially when the market's shifting for the better, act more, you'll take more market share. When the market's shifting for the worse, take action or you go broke. So taking more action is really the only option. The problem is doing less activity when the market gets better sets you up for failure when the market pivots. And I don't know if anybody saw the NAR numbers, but they pretty much told us exactly that happened. Because as the market was going up, 21, 22, 23, right? Market, lots of tailwind, the interest rates at 2%. Anybody can sell a house as a buyer's agent when interest rates are 2%, just FYI, right? So like everybody was like lazy, not doing any work, didn't build a database, no CRM. So they're just like, oh, life is great. I'm going to be so rich. And then the market turned, they didn't get real about their mindset. They didn't track the data and they got stuck with their pants down when the market was here and their behavior was like it was easy peasy up here. That adds up, doesn't it? You saw that happen, probably know some agents who got caught like underworking. So again, Gary says, work harder no matter what the market is. If you're working harder on the way up, then by the time you get here, you've taken so much more market share that you can survive the trip down. But if you keep working more on the way down, agents are leaving the business left and right on the way down. And now, A, you survived, which is half the battle in a tough market, and B, you are now positioned to be an even bigger winner. Who was the agent that we knew? It was a bank-owned agent that we knew who, when the foreclosures were like taking off and stuff.
Yeah, I just talked about her literally 30 minutes ago. I was saying River old building on Eastern Boulevard, just talked about that.
Yeah,
Right the wave, REO, tried to control double sides,
couldn't do it.
didn't build a team.
Nope.
Worked out their house, went away, now you don't even, I don't know.
That, so we're talking in like our own language. Like half
Yeah.
sentences.
Yeah.
So during the crap, but so market shifts can create different circumstances in another way. Like when the market's crashing, a lot of people look at that as failure. One person or one set of agents doesn't, and that's REO agents. So in 2007 to 10, the Snouters. That's what we're talking about. Anybody know that name? Okay, so they got the accounts for REO. Cool, so bank owned real estate. Well, when we're foreclosing on 100 to 200 houses a month, there's a shitload of inventory for those people, right? That's a pretty big wave to ride. They were carrying literally over 100 pieces of inventory at any given time. They were listing 4 to 7 properties a week, probably. Cool. All good until the market pivoted. For them, actually, the market getting better was a problem because now that inventory dried up. Nope, they weren't able to. They like I think maybe they do 20 deals a year at most now, because there is no REO inventory, and they didn't build any resilience to the market change. Not saying anything about them as people. It's just like mathematically true. Okay, so just don't be that, and don't be the how whatever percent of NAR bailed at the end of 2025 because the market was getting harder. Don't be that either, right? We're here to win. So controlling activity. So number one is as your transactions slow, you must take more activity to refill your pipeline. So what do I mean by slow? 2 places where your transactions and pipeline are going to slow down. Number one is in new opportunities converting into deals. That's going to be like the buyers that you have working who are sort of like, well, thinking about it. Yeah, probably like later this year. It was like, cool. I don't know what that means. None of that is concrete. It's like, what's the date you want to be holding new keys? Those are the questions we need to be asking. The first place that we need to fill the pipeline more is in new opportunities up to agreements. The second place is going to be as market time goes up on our listings, our cash conversion cycle for listings gets longer. What does that mean? It means that if it goes to 11 days time on market, that's the average. That means that 50% of them are going to be above that. So if we're now 25 days on market when we take a new listing, and then another 60 days to get to the closing table, our cash conversion cycle from signed listing agreement until money arrives in our bank account as commissions is now over 3 months.
On
And
the
in
flip
two-
side, buyers are not 2 years anymore.
Correct, right? Because they can get a house faster if they want to. Right. So knowing where to fill your pipeline, and so that's where the activity is. So number one is controlling your pipeline above, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this, but like generating more leads. As things slow down, you've got to be generating more chances. And this is like how many dials a day or dials a week are you taking? Like it's also about speed. We need to become the governor of speed in our transactions. If we're just waiting around for the customers to determine the speed, we obviously we are their fiduciary. We're working alongside them. But left to their own devices, remember, they're making decisions on speed based on a market that's probably 100 days old. And they may not have any clue that things have gotten different or slower or faster or have any idea what's happening to interest rates, right? What's happening to interest rates right now? They're pretty high. That's actually a good answer. Kind of suck, but like, I don't know if they're going to get better or worse. But at the end of the day, it's like, if you have a housing need, I need to be able to tell you where are we right now relative to where we've been from interest rates, which is what? Up, definitely up, right? And then give you some idea of like, where do we think we might head, which is all a little bit of an educated guess. But like, that's when you got to listen to Andrew at the team meetings. And if you don't have a good pulse on it, just freaking text him or call him and go walk upstairs. Be like, hey, I have a buyer who's maybe going to buy in the next 2 weeks or maybe going to buy in the next 2 months. What kind of conversation should I have with them about interest? And don't take it all on your shoulders. It's also part of working with a good lender. You got to put that burden on them. Number 3 thing that you can control is skill. I haven't been writing. So number 1 is mindset. Number 2 is activity. Gary Keller said this on stage. He said we are in a skill-based market. Yeah. What does that mean? It means how often are you practicing your listing presentation?
I was told not to worry about listings.
Okay. So if you're going to worry about buyers, there are only 2 choices of who you can worry about. So if you're not going to worry about sellers, it's fine. If you're going to worry about buyers, when was the last time you practiced your buyer consultation? Like the days of just going and meeting people, like, well, let me put it this way. You could run your business by just going and meeting people who call in off of a sign or off of Zillow and just like go meet them at the house. But you haven't generated business. You're just a service provider at that point. You're a door opener. And now your relationship is as shallow as the address of the property you met them at. And if they don't love it, you don't have a lot to go on. Your goal should be to do actual consultations as often as you can. I recommend you do it here. Option B would be a great coffee shop. There's like 2 choices right over here, right? Like meet with them and have a business conversation. If you are meeting them at an address, you are having an address conversation. Because if you open the door and they don't like it, they just walk out. And now you're like, well, can I talk to you about other? I was like, well, what didn't you like about it? Like, let me send you an email with them. Or no, I'm good. I'll just like reach out to the next person. I'll click the next button. You just validated that was an option because you just gave into their exact ask.
This is weird, but the NAR settlement was one of the best things that could have happened to my business
100%.
because it made me sit down and literally know what the fuck I'm talking about. Like
Yeah.
I just have templates for everything now and you can adjust them. But the changes are what make you.
Yeah. The reality
Like
is,
when somebody asks you, why do you do this? And you can't answer it, it's kind of like.
from a compliance perspective, you going and meeting somebody at Zillow is a disaster right now. Don't do that. Like, because now, like, do you have signed agency? Now you got to have that awkward conversation of I need to have agency to open the door for you. So let me just send you this one day agreement. Well, cool. Now you just devalued yourself and told them I only need to work with you for 1 day. You just gave in. So it's a value thing, and then exactly.
Things commissions, understanding like I don't just list at 6, I
Yeah.
list at this, and you offer like just it
Correct.
really forces you to do good things.
I don't
Things are
disagree.
shifting.
I don't disagree.
It helps you disqualify people too. Like I've noticed when you have people who are actually gonna be motivated are more willing to come in and sit down rather
Yeah.
than just go look at a house.
Yeah. So 3 places to look at for skill. Number 1 is going to be like in your lead communication. So like meaning like how you communicate with leads. Do you have the ability to receive a lead call and convert them into a client? The gap between a lead and a client is your payday. Right? If you are what I described there as like a door opener type of mindset, where it's like, let me just show you that address, and you don't do any like type of relationship or rapport building. That's the skill I'm talking about. Like the ability to connect with somebody who's a lead and turn them into your client. So that's number 1. Number 2 is the skill of working with existing clients. Right? So this is like what Abby's talking about is the ability to serve people and have good, professional, high quality conversations. And again, if you're not practicing in this room, like to your point, if you feel underprepared for anything, grab somebody else. There's 10 other people here and be like, let's like help me. Let's look at the buyer's agency agreement and how can I be more prepared to like go through buyer's agency
Well,
consultation.
I want to do all the list. I've been doing the cold calling, the expireds and stuff like that. I just don't know really what I'm doing.
So
Takes time.
it does take time, but be specific about what you don't feel confident in. If you're being generic and like feeling like I don't know about anything, that's probably not true. So decide like where is the place I feel uncomfortable or unconfident, and if I worked on that particular thing, how would that help me be more equipped? And then just chip away at that list of things you're not as good at as you wish you were. If people like we fail in overwhelm. So when you use a word like, anything or everything, that's, first of all, it's not true. And second of all, it doesn't help you. So be more specific about where you feel underprepared and then go tackle that thing one at a time. If it's like, I don't know how to, like, once I get them on the phone, what do I say? Cool, work on that. Like, what questions do you ask? How do you start to build rapport? Check that box. Cool. Now I want to get an appointment with them. They agreed to meet with me at a coffee shop. Now I'm panicking. Cool. Well, like, what am I going to do? From like meeting with them there, and what questions do I ask? And what's a good buyer consultation? You said you're building templates. It's like she's past like the point of just learning it and getting to like what I call like doing it entrepreneurially. Now she's doing it at a professional level.
But that's what you do when it's slow, like Christmas time and
Mhm.
like you keep busy taking action.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the other thing. Remember, it's activity first and then skill. If you are super skilled and don't talk to anybody, you're like a secret agent. And so, so don't mistake those. You have to balance those two things for sure. I'd rather you take imperfect action, which also teaches you skill. I'd rather you do that than just spend a bunch of time in the office, like, like a serial learner who just like shows up to every class and like doesn't actually talk to any customers. Don't do that.
No, I've started doing the talking to the customers. It's just nerve wracking because I
Good.
don't come from a cold calling. That's very much stepping outside my comfort zone.
Just for the record, like I also would be uncomfortable cold calling, and I am like pretty good. So
I've had some conversation.
Yeah.
I actually had somebody that I called yesterday, well, two different people I called yesterday. One person, they're not interested in selling yet, but he actually invited me to come see his property.
why not?
And then the other person I actually was friends with.
Backyard or something. That's wild and cool. Like, I mean, like you'll figure out what's working and what's not working, and I think that comes from action. So talking about skill, like in this book, so I'm not working directly off the chapters, but here's actually a really interesting example. Step one of taking different action is stop doing what doesn't work anymore. And then step two is start doing more of what you need to be doing. But what he talks about there is like prioritizing and listing out your different lead sources and then taking that action. And then also what I would encourage, and this is like the next chapter there, is it moves into like the skill conversation, and lead conversion is all about skill, like actually converting your work and converting what you're doing into revenue. That's tactic 5 or chapter 5. So up to page 83 is all about mindset and activity. That's 80 pages worth of just telling you to get your stuff right up here and then go take extraordinary amounts of effort to like, it's like if you did an open house Saturday and Sunday of every single weekend for an entire year and didn't really work on skill, would you make money?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even accidentally, yes.
Really?
100%. 100%. If you just took massive action, if every Thursday you're out door knocking and handing out your flyers and handing out around the neighborhood, and every Friday you go and do it again because all your entire job is Saturday and Sunday is 2 open houses. If everything you did was built around that,
Somebody will call.
somebody will fall into buying or selling with you. Yeah. Mhm.
Can you reiterate what you said about a thing?
Yeah. So that's a skill of working with people you've already lead generated with. Yep. The last piece of skill is the actual business. When fallout rates go up and deals are harder to get across the closing table, you actually need to get better at the actual business. And the skill of the business gets harder. Like, this is where we're talking about navigating home inspection repairs. Being better at those types of negotiations. That is the third part of skill. So this is top of funnel, generating money. This is working your existing clientele and database, right? Which is getting them to write a contract that's actually viable. And the third one is getting your payday. and getting more skilled at that. Actually, one of the last chapters of Shift is a chart of all of the places where transactions go wrong. It's called bulletproofing your transaction. There's actually a chapter in there about REO, which is funny. But anyway, bulletproofing the transaction, which is in there, which talks about like all the places you can actually work on the skill of keeping your deals together. All right, number 4 is your database. Did you just say what? What did you say? Oh, I want you to say cha-ching. Your database is your bank. The size of your database and the quality of the relationships you have in it are directly proportional to how much money you will make. So there are 2 choices for how to make money in the business. Let me show it to you in a really idiotic, simple fun. It is either people you know or people you don't know. And if you are going to choose to do business with people you don't know, you have to refill that portion of the bucket all the time. Because if I don't know you and I don't go to meet new versions of you tomorrow, I'm out of business the following day. Every day you're not adding to the don't know bucket, you're broke, right? But if I know you, then I know you. I already have you. And so then it's just a matter of keeping in relationship with you. So it's like, how often are you making calls into the people you know? Like we'd say it, know, like, and trust. If I give it the grocery store test. Would I hide from you on the other side of the aisle? Or would I walk up to you and have a conversation and know your kids' names? It's a great test. I've done both.
I've never heard that. That's so funny.
Yeah. So the grocery store test is like the people that you would know. I want that list to be big. If you had 1,000 people that were on your grocery store list, first of all, you couldn't go grocery shopping anymore because you'd always be talking to people. But second of all, if there were 1,000 people that you know, like, and trust well enough that you can have a conversation with them about what's going on in their life and their kids' names at the grocery store, and you called through those 1,000 people once every, I don't know, 7 to 8 weeks, and just said, hey, how are the kids? Oh my gosh, summer's coming up. Any good plans? What's going on, right? You could do Ford, family, occupation, recreation, dreams, a great little foolproof script on how to call people that you already know. So if you did that call every 7 to 8 weeks to the grocery store people, you would be so rich, it wouldn't even be funny. And if you don't believe me, drive by here on Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock. I happen to live in the neighborhood behind here, so I know what car is here by far the most. It is a white Range Rover.
Adam.
And it's Adam. And do you know what Adam does on Sunday at 2 o'clock, other than probably write contracts? His whole deal is he's talking to people all the time. If he is by far the car that's here the most. No question. And he is constantly working his sphere and database. And it will be hard for Adam to not do business someday if he ever wants to stop. Because there are so much is he on TV? Does Adam have billboards anywhere? No. Adam's here at Sunday at 2 o'clock calling people. Like, it's a pretty simple recipe. So it's filled a no bucket big enough that you can't go to the grocery store without like seeing somebody. And if you don't have enough there, then you go to the don't know bucket and you add a bunch of people in there. And that's where you have to go to paid leads and all the other things, right? So like all these people that are like living and dying by Zillow, fine, might work. Fairly risky game because at some point if that cuts off and they haven't built those people into relationships that they could call on later, they have to churn and burn all the time to survive. Make sense?
Yeah.
So number 4, database. Build it, love on it, like cultivate it, and then harvest from it. Yeah, don't be giving me that sound.
One of the best things you ever told me though about database is like you don't have to talk about work.
No.
People are going to ask you, how's the market?
Yep.
You don't ever have to bring up your job because they're gonna bring.
Say it louder. Don't talk about work.
Yeah, what's great, because we don't sell little products every month, right? People know what we do. They're gonna ask about their kids, ask about that's the key to database.
Don't.
I agree.
Because, and it's not about
You-
me being in so much stuff, but it's just, they know I'm the new agent, so they don't want to deal with me.
Yeah. So that's when you like find a friend. Like, cause like, hey, yes, I'm newer, and also like find an agent who will oversee or help you or whatever. Like, we have 240 or whatever agents here. There's literally, there is no reason in the actual world for you to not win. There are tons of reasons in this world for you to not win. So that's number one is mindset, by the way.
Because I'm still failing.
There you go.
I have a team of 248.
Yeah.
If I don't know,
Ryan.
sure.
Ryan's-
No.
You didn't hear anyone. I'm gonna say one of the biggest things I do with business is because I have good business, but one thing like the whole roof thing has me, the insurance and roofs, I call Kate, I call Brittany Snyder, I call like people that I know are doing a lot, and I just am curious. I'm like, hey, this new thing is happening. What are you seeing? Because I don't do like, you just ask people and you tell
Yeah.
clients, I don't know, but I'll find out. And I surround myself with people like the lender I have in a deal right now. We are falling apart with loan programs and the grant money. And Jesus Christ, like she's kept it together. Like that's when the parts of just
By the way, all of that, like lending getting harder, grants starting to fall apart, like that is, by the way, what happened in 2008.
yeah.
So like,
It's like now the skill part is obvious, but
Yes.
it's like I don't know this stuff and I'm gonna tell you I don't because I shouldn't know everything. Some agents that
You're-
say they do, like cool for them.
you're gonna be the new me.
Yeah,
You call me because I like
yeah.
it's been a minute, but like you call me or Kate because like we've seen the shit and we can help you like problem solve it. But like there was a day in 2008 where I lost 3 deals in one day because the front door of the bank got padlocked because they went out of business. So like who teaches you how to deal with that? Nobody. So I had Eric Brewer at the time, right? And I was like a salesperson inside of their company. And he was like, go figure it out. Go find other lenders. Who have you not tried calling yet that you need to go call? Because I want to close that deal this month. And it was like the 18th of the month. And it's like, can you get the appraisal transferred? Can you get the loan file transferred? By the way, both of these things, yes, you can do. Didn't know it till you try it, right? And like it's like, yes, you can get an FHA case number reassigned. Yes, you can get the FHA case number carries the appraisal over. It's like, okay, cool. Didn't know any of that. Andrew can get a deal done in like 4 days. Don't tell him I said that, but you get a deal done in 4 days if that's the storm that you're in. But so to her point, and like you gotta get some of it through bumps and bruises a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going through the same thing.
Well, the best part of business is
With
predicting what could go
incentives
wrong.
and grants and.
Yeah.
I have a client that has 3 different, there are 3 different incentives.
So think back again.
Require something.
If you sent an offer out with a grant attached to it 3 years ago, that was like a hilarious joke, right? No chance that was going to get done. So to your buyers, they have an opportunity in this market that they didn't have 3 years ago.
Yeah, well,
That's like, yeah, there's like all that type of stuff out there, right? So it's just like, it's just interesting. So these shifting markets, there's a lot of nuance to that. It's like, okay, the market is objectively getting worse, lower, less aggressive, but now there's buyers who would have gotten laughed off the map 3 years ago who now have a shot. Okay, cool. There's like a little bit of silver lining to this, right? So again, the shifting market conversation and like, why did I pick Shift? A couple of reasons. Number one, I just think it's an amazing book. I just strongly recommend that you read it. Like, I know you guys are newer to the KW world, although I love rocking the shirt. And it's like these books are just like, there's this one in particular, MREA is a little bit more lofty, but this one is like just chock full of actual practical things. Oh, by the way, you guys have heard me talk about sales and the 6 connecting questions. It's actually from Shift. Who, what, when, where, how, and why. I mean, they also are from 2nd grade, but like that's like, but like that's where that's from. So that the book is just like very practical. So I wanted to like get that back in front of you. We talked about last year maybe me running like a Shift series, but the market's like not so obviously showing its cards. So it was like, it's like not a real sexy topic. But again, I wanted to reintroduce it because I think it's really good. And those four pieces, mindset, activity, skill, and database, just like I had an exercise, we chatted a little bit more, but my challenge to you guys is to just like write those 4 words and just ask yourself, like, what is one thing you can control? Because really, this class was about controlling the controllables in whatever the market does. And what is one thing you can control in each of those that helps? Like mine could be as simple as like, maybe I'll give you 2. Number 1, write down gratitudes every morning. Start yourself with an attitude of like things can happen. This is the life is good.
Schedule.
Well, so yeah, so having a schedule is like part of this activity, by the way, right? You got to protect it. Like the other thing for mindset is like, right, that's get real, get right. The other thing is, am I getting real often enough? And do I have just tossing it out there? You can set yourself up as a client in your CRM and just like pull the town you live in or the school district you live in, and just pull all of the new actives, the pendings, and the closed for 7 days, and just run that report every single day. And if you just check that once a week or once a couple times a week, and you're going to start to like get real about what's actually going on. So the next time you're in a listing presentation, you're like, yeah, I get it that you want to take a shot. I'm just telling you right now that of the 19 listings that have come on in the last 30 days, this is how many of them had an actual price drop. And specifically, there's 2 in a price range that's really similar to yours that they waited 20 days and then they had to reduce by this much. Do you want to be like them or not? And that's really different level of confidence and doesn't take years of experience. It just takes you like logging into the CRM and reading it. Does that make sense?
What about, say you have a customer that wants you to do a CRM for them, but there is no comparable properties around?
Call Steve Brown,
Yeah, like
start.
that's pretty rare. It's pretty rare.
A huge. I mean, this place is got a lot of acreage. It's a huge house, but in that area, there's like nothing else. Like I tried doing a CRM for them.
Two choices: go wider, go longer. So go wider is like widen it to multiple school districts, or like you can. There are very so few multi-million-dollar, like $1 million+ sales in York County that like, other than a couple of school districts that have multiple sales, like you pretty much have to go county-wide on those. So go wide and geographic, or go deeper, or go longer, meaning like look back further in time. It's not going to be a 90-day look back. It'll be a 6-month or 12-month look back, maybe. I'm definitely not your CMA guy, by the way, but I'm a great salesperson.
I call Steve and I say, hey, this is he loves to educate people.
Oh, yeah.
And I say, hey, this is my situation. How would you, and he'll spend the time and like, he won't tell you what to see Brown and Brown appraisers, but he won't tell you what to, like black and white, but he'll be like, here's something you can go off of, or how I would maybe do it, or like just find people, resources.
Cool. Well, the chips smell really good. It's 12:04. It's pretty good on time. That's actually amazing for me. So I appreciate the round of applause that you guys are going to give me. I want to hear. Guys. I want to hear 1 or 2 takeaways.
I'm left more with an inquiry of putting it to use because of property sitting in Northeastern. It has to be a pricing issue, but I would like to get a little deeper with some of that data about, I've sent her one, but not an encapsulation of multiple price adjustments. She's not urgent and not opposed to it, but we've been on over 30 days, 4 open houses, and it's time.
So that's a really great lesson for everybody. Is like, it's much harder to have that conversation from a defensive perspective than an offensive perspective. Like once you're already doing the work and the market's giving you responses, but now you have to justify that back to her, that's a less comfortable conversation. So what I was talking about with like setting expectations and almost like building a roadmap, I'll take it to an extreme of like how Ryan and I used to take our listings. In like the 2009 and 10, market was dog water, right? It was not good. And we actually would build in not just that first price reduction, but we would actually build in a schedule with an agreed upon timeline of how often we're gonna revisit it. So it's like, hey, we're gonna do it, like, if the market tells us we're wrong, I don't wanna be the average of the days on the market. I actually want to exceed it. In fact, it's to your advantage as a seller to be ahead of the average of days on the market. So if the average is 11, if we win, we have more demand if we're selling at 8. But if we're at day 15, we're already losing, right? So that's not a target. It's actually, we must beat that number. So that conversation of expectations at the time you're taking the listing, way easier. And the seat you're in now, where you're already doing the work, now it's a little bit of like building a case so that you can show her in a non-defensive way that you've been doing the things.
Yeah.
And I would almost like be like, time out, let's just see where we are. So we're at this number of days on market. I'm gonna go do that deeper dive on data. I'm gonna look at, average days on market. I'm gonna pull the comps, the closest comps you used to price it, pull those and see how long they sat on the market and exactly like what terms they ended up with. Like what was their list price to sold price, how much seller concession, like build a picture of the whole thing and then go back to her and say, all right, cool. We are where we are. We're 31 days in. We've done 4 open houses. The market didn't like forget that we were holding open houses and the property's been on the MLS. All the things that make a property visible to people has already happened. So that's like the market telling us no answer is actually the market giving us data.
Yeah, and just to update a little bit, she's well aware of that. She knows she needs to be out by August. Like we did do that today, literally while I'm here, a property came on same development, next road over for 4099, just came on.
What's she at?
450. So I just texted her and we did have that conversation. She knows about it, but I'm more thinking about when it's time to go. There's the next dilemma that I'll use my colleague and have some professional dialogue and look, but I have some third-party stories. There's this other thing that I think is worth mentioning that there's a public perception that the realtors want to sell the house very quickly for the realtor's reputation.
Yeah.
And so you better be aware and sensitive to that prior to going in, calling yourself a servant, but having them think you're doing it for your needs is really bad.
So that's that commission breath. I mean, so when we talk about skill, I think these conversations, that's like the highest level of skill. Like the ability to have a difficult conversation in a way that feels like a win to the other person is gold. So, I'm very much a question-based person when it comes to like advising. So I'll just be like, hey, how much longer until you start to feel nervous about your own mistakes? And what's that worth in terms of dollar signs?
Great question.
Right? Like, it's like, that's gonna put the spotlight on it right there. And it's like, well, now we have to have a conversation because we're holding out for maybe dollars. I was actually doing a coaching call in there and before I came over to teach. And I was like, we're holding out for maybe dollars. And I've never seen that spent in a store or put into the bank.
You're so witty.
Right? Like, it's just like that's what we're like, so having that money that you'd like to get, nobody in the market cares.
Right.
Literally, right?
Myself
And so-
included.
right, yeah, so it's like, so back her into the August, by the way, because I think she's actually already in more trouble than she's probably willing to admit. If she wants to be out in August, what is the average turn time on a loan right now, especially at a $400,000?
45 FHA.
45, yeah, we're probably 45, right? So if we want to be sold in August, we want to be under contract when? Like, that's not 35 days away. So like,
Oh, I'm sorry. She's end of August. I'm sorry.
I'm so gonna move it forward because like, the last thing I want to do is like, give her an excuse to take it all the way to the.
So we're a month away.
We're literally a month away. Like that changes urgent, like you said, oh, she's not really urgent. I'm like, I feel urgency and I'm not even in that situation. Like I'm already staring down that time. So that's a great way to also back that conversation. And I would do that with buyers and sellers. There's 2 different timelines, as a sales conversation already, but like there's 2 different timelines when you're having that consultation. It's like, when do you want to what's the timeline for you to make a decision? And what's the timeline for the transaction?
Yeah, but I really can't have you minimize that. Literally, she's the boss, right? So like, yeah, 100% her having what was your timeline again? When do you feel that's 100%? worth amplifying. I appreciate.
Yeah, and by the way, it's like so to avoid the commission breath, like it's all about me thing. Like, I actually like it's not about me getting this to the closing table for anybody other than you. Because what are you going to tell your friends about me as a real estate agent if I miss the date that you told me was your goal? So I feel a huge sense of responsibility to position this property to win. And right now, I feel like everything we've done to position it is great. We have high definition photos. We did 4 open houses. We're on every single website you could possibly ask for. The only thing that's a variable that we haven't done anything with is the price. And I feel a sense of responsibility to just tell you the hard thing, which is I think we really need to be offensive about this. At 33 days on the market, with the average days in York County being 11, I feel like we're already on the defense, and I hate being there. How can we turn this to offensive? What's the amount of money that we can reduce this, that positions us better, competes better against the 409 house, and helps you win by August?
And you make less money on a less expensive house.
Yeah.
They know
Yeah.
that.
I mean, I don't.
You're gonna say that, but it's like,
To do is reduce my commission by lowering the price. Like, I'm actually like, this is not about like, it's like, I want to position you to win. There's nothing more important. I truly believe that if I win in real estate, like if we have a servant heart, like the customer winning should lead to us winning. That's okay. It's not, there's nothing embarrassing about being a well-paid professional, but also like sometimes that means getting the customer out of their own damn way. Because like they hired us to be the professional. Like I don't go into the doctor and be like, yeah, I really don't think this headache's a serious thing. He tells me if it's serious. He's like, no, idiot. Like, right? Like, yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, I mean, it's only been going on for like 4 months and I can sort of see straight sometimes. Like, no, like we're going to get a CAT scan. This is a real serious thing. It's like doesn't matter what I'm trying to convince. He's the boss, right? So that's okay for you to position that there. Also helps when you're professional. So it goes back to like, are you ready? Or do you know the data? Are you that professional? Like, I'll never forget. This was like probably 2018 to like COVID-ish. I ended up like going down a rabbit trail of Ryan Serhant. And I've told this before, like Ryan was a hand model. Like that was his job. He was a hand model and he was broke in New York and he was a leasing agent. So he would just like show leased, co-ops and apartments and was like barely scraping by. But what he did to set himself apart, and you guys all know Ryan Serhant, right? The guy from $1 Million Listing. What he did to set himself apart, and he did a vlog series on YouTube that's old now and it's like not really actually that good, but I ended up kind of going down this path. But what he talked about a story of his origins. And what he did was he would memorize every unit in the building he was showing as a leasing agent, which leasing, you could argue is like pretty much just an order taker. You're just like opening the door for a lease and then like off it goes. So he would memorize all of the rental units in that lease building and then all of the for sale units in buildings in that area. And so then when he met a leasing client, if they didn't like the unit, he'd be like, well, I have 4 other leasable places in this building, but also there's like a place you could buy over there for $750,000 if you wanted to consider. I think the payment would be pretty comparable. And so he transitioned from being like a broke hand model leasing agent to being a $1 billion real estate agent by just knowing more off the top of his head than other people did. And all he did was memorize the things, which is like, it's like you said, wow, but it's just like, really, all he did was look at the MLS and just like pick 3 buildings and memorize what units were in them. Like that's actually, it's like not that wild of an idea, but like what an impactful like way to win. Cool.
this is super silly, but you can't obviously be in defense, but being a co-parent has helped me be a better realtor by 100% because when you're co-parenting, the rule book is the rules. When emotions get high and and we don't agree, here it is. But with real estate, it's the same thing because if we already have the rules, now that we're all scrambling, I don't know, stupid example. Like I said, it's the same idea. And that has greatly helped me with doing stuff like that because it's like, well, it's right here. I don't talk to them the same way I talk to my co-parent. It's like, what do you want me to say? Here's the data. Here's the facts. Here's the this. How we feel doesn't matter. It's right here. So that's a great example.
And you still have to get to a winning outcome.
Yeah.
But the rules are already kind of in play. And I think that's also part of why expectations are such a big thing to me in sales. I think most sales actually are won or lost at expectations.
When emotions get high,
That's too
where
late
do
for a
we
decision.
go?
It's too late to be deciding what we want when emotions are high. When we're sitting at the expectations conversation, it's like, hey, listen, there's going to be a time at day 35, if we're not sold, that you're going to think I'm the worst realtor in the world. Tell them that. And I'm just, I like, how do you want to address the conversation at day 35? If we're not sold. And you know what they'll say? Well, I'm hiring you because you're not the worst realtor. Okay. Got you. On tape. Remember that. And at day 35, be like, hey, I'm still not the worst realtor in the world. And the market's telling us that we need to change a little bit of what we're doing right now. So again, I think the expectations clear a lot of that up. Be stronger. Honestly, not in a mean way, but just like be more strong and a little bit more direct and forceful in that upfront. And that actually speaks all the way back to like this graph is like when you're in this like fantasy phase at the top of the market, no hard conversations need to happen other than the buyers. Sorry you didn't get your offer accepted. Right. But here we need to be a little bit more forceful and a little bit more like direct and consultative because the sellers are living in this mindset behind us and we have to bring them up to reality of where we currently are. And that's that advisory role that we take. That's why like build the timeline. Just tell her, hey, right now lending's at 45 days. The market, we're already at 35 days and the market's not budging, right? However many showings or whatever you've got. It's like we got a 30-day ticking time bomb on this thing. What are we going to do for pricing to stay really aggressive? You might not feel urgent today, but you're going to feel extremely urgent in July and it will be way too late.
What's the house I'm using it?
All right, guys.
255 Andrew Drive.
Oh, Andrew. Yeah. You got this.
Yeah,
Isn't this cool?
Thank you.
4 things to get control over.
Hey.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah. In the house was
You want to leave a sign tonight?
They didn't. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get some tips.
And then the one thing I'm on. 409. That one is on Eli. One's on Eli.
Playing around with buildings, the neighborhood. How have you done with the solar panels? So I have my first listing coming this weekend with solar.
This one's actually. I got,
Jesus Christ.
you know, so I'm getting ready to have a, I mean, but
Were there conflicts?
very good.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
The bond. This is really rad stuff. Are you the teacher? Okay, so I just heard your name from teacher. A lot of stuff people are in the northeast area.
Yeah.
It's just small. You know. Well, when you came to Keller Williams, people, he's the teacher or the educator, principal. You don't want to think, John, I've been over 8 years.
One.
Yeah. You've been in and out, I know what you're doing, but then now it's market, like gas.
Oh, way above the access.
I don't think today is see this now the. It's gonna be fine.